Brother, Okafor said one evening, have you noticed how Ikenna looks at the land documents? How he asks questions about the original purchase? I don't trust it. Okafor, stop. Ikenna is family. His sister is my wife. His children and my children are blood. Blood, Okafor laughed bitterly. Brother, in Lagos, I've learned that money is thicker than blood. In the twin villages of Akachi and Umona, separated only by the river Omambala, two families had been bound by blood and oath for 7 generations. The Okonkwo's and the Eze family, brothers in all but name. Their children married each other, their businesses flourished together, their ancestors were buried side by side. But, as the elders say, the rope that binds can also strangle. Chief Okonkwo and Chief Eze stood on opposite banks of the river Omambala, each holding a knife and a white cloth. From this day forward, Chief Okonkwo declared, the Okonkwo family and the Eze family are one blood, one destiny. One family, Chief Eze agreed. May our children's children never forget this bond. They cut their palms, mixed their blood on the white cloth, and buried it at the river's edge. 7 witnesses from each village stood as testimony. The covenant was sealed. For decades, the covenant held strong. When famine struck Akachi in 1935, the Eze family shared their harvest. When flood destroyed Umuna in 1942, the Okonkwo family rebuilt their houses. When both families needed capital to buy land in the growing city of Onitsha, they pooled their resources and purchased it together, 20 acres of prime property that would one day be worth millions. The families prospered. Okonkwo and Eze Trading Company became the largest palm oil export business in the region. Their children attended the same schools, their families celebrated holidays together. When the Okonkwo's eldest son, Chukwuede Okonkwo, married the Eze's eldest daughter, Adiaze, in 1958, both families wept with joy. This is how it should always be, old Chief Okonkwo said at the wedding, tears in his ancient eyes. Family forever. But old Chief Okonkwo died 6 months later, and with him died the last person who truly remembered why the covenant was made. Chukwuede Okonkwo and Adiaze raised 3 children, Emeka, Chioma, and young Obiora. Across the river, Adiaze's brother, Ikenna Eze, had 2 children, Ongozi and Chinedu. The 5 cousins grew up together, inseparable. They swam in the river Omambala, played football in the compound, and promised they would always be best friends. We are more than cousins, Emeka would say. We're brothers and sisters in blood. But in the adult world, cracks were forming. The 20 acres of land in Onitsha, originally purchased jointly, had exploded in value. What was once farmland was now prime commercial real estate. Developers were offering 10 million naira, 20 million, 30 million. The families held equal shares. 50% Okonkwo, 50% Eze. But Ikenna Eze's wife Obiagele had ideas. Why should we share equally? She whispered to her husband at night. Your family contributed more to buying that land. The records are old. Who's to say what really happened? We could claim 70%, maybe 80%. Obiagele, these are our relatives. My sister's husband's family. Our children play together. Your sister married into their family. Her loyalty is to them now, not to us. Don't be naive, Ikenna. In this world, family only matters until money enters the picture. The poison dripped slowly, night after night, year after year. Ikenna began reviewing the old documents. The land deed was in both family names, yes, but it was vague about the exact contribution amounts. The original chiefs who made the purchase were dead. The witnesses were dead. It was just paperwork and fading memories. On the Okonkwo side, Chukwuede's younger brother, Okafor, was having similar thoughts. Brother, Okafor said one evening, have you noticed how Ikenna looks at the land documents? How he asks questions about the original purchase? I don't trust it. Okafor, stop. Ikenna is family. His sister is my wife. His children and my children are blood. Blood, Okafor laughed bitterly. Brother, in Lagos, I've learned that money is thicker than blood. We should secure our claim. Make sure our percentage is protected. Maybe even increased. You are talking about betraying the covenant. I'm talking about protecting our family's future, our children's inheritance. Don't be foolish, Chukwuede. Sentiment doesn't pay school fees. Ikenna Eze hired a lawyer without telling the Okonkwo family. The lawyer found a loophole, a technicality in the land registration that could be interpreted to favor the Eze family's claim. Without warning, Ikenna filed a lawsuit claiming the Eze family owned 75% of the land, not 50%. The lawsuit papers arrived at Chukwuede's house on Tuesday morning. Adiaze was visiting her brother when her husband called, his voice shaking with rage and betrayal. Your brother is suing us, your brother, for our family's land. Adiaze felt her world collapse. She rushed to Ikenna's house. Brother, what have you done? These are my children's future, my husband's inheritance. You chose your side when you married him, Ikenna said coldly. Obiagele standing behind him with a satisfied smile. This is business, Adiaze, nothing personal. Nothing personal, Adiaze screamed. You are destroying our families. The covenant. The covenant was made by dead men, Obiagele interrupted. We live in modern times now. Sentiment doesn't win court cases. Evidence does, and we have evidence. Adiaze returned home in tears. That night, for the first time in 22 years of marriage, she and Chukwuede slept in separate rooms. Not because they were angry at each other, but because the betrayal hurt too much to speak about. Meanwhile, Okonkwo Okafor wasn't sitting idle. If the Eze family was going to play dirty, so would he. He hired his own lawyer. He found his own evidence, forged documents that claimed the Okonkwo family had paid for 80% of the land, not 50%. Chukwuede begged him not to file the countersuit. This would destroy everything. Our children are family. We can negotiate. Negotiate, Okafor snapped. They are trying to steal from us, brother. Wake up. The covenant is dead. Now it's war. The countersuit was filed. The legal battle began. The river Omambala, once a symbol of unity between the two villages, became a border. Okonkwo family members stopped crossing to Muna. Eze family members stopped crossing to Akachi. The cousins who had once been inseparable now attended the same school but didn't speak. When they passed each other in the halls, they looked away. The sacred bond was broken. The bloodlines were at war. As the legal battle intensified, both families dug in their heels. Court dates were set, lawyers demanded retainers, documents were forged, witnesses were bribed. And caught in the middle were the children, watching their parents destroy everything their great-grandfathers had built. Emeka Okonkwo and Ngozi Eze continued to meet in secret by the river, holding hands and making promises they weren't sure they could keep. When this is over, Emeka whispered, we'll get married, we'll unite the families again. And if it's never over, Ngozi asked, tears in her eyes. Emeka had no answer. Because deep down they both knew this was only the beginning. The worst was to come.
The court case dragged on. Years passed. Legal fees mounted. Both families spent fortunes on lawyers, draining the very wealth they were fighting over. Young Obiora Okonkwo and Chinedu Eze, 15 and 16, used to be best friends. Now they attended the same school but didn't speak. One day it exploded into violence. Another student made a joke. Hey Obiora, I heard your family are thieves trying to steal the Eze land. Obiora punched him. Chinedu saw it happen and jumped in, not to defend Obiora, but to attack him. My father says your family are the thieves, Chinedu shouted, throwing punches. The two boys who had once been brothers beat each other bloody in the school courtyard while students cheered and teachers pulled them apart. That evening, Obiora came home with a black eye and split lip. His mother Adaeze, who was Chinedu's aunt, wept when she saw him. This has to stop, she begged Chukwuade. Our families are destroying each other. The children are suffering. Can't you see? The land isn't worth this. It's not about the land anymore, Chukwuade said tiredly. It's about principle, about betrayal, about trust destroyed. How do you forgive your wife's brother for calling you a thief, for trying to steal from your children? Across the river, Ikenna Eze was having the same conversation with his wife. The legal fees have cost us 3 million naira already. We're spending millions to fight for land we already own half of. This is insanity. We can't back down now, Obiageli insisted. If we drop the lawsuit, we look weak. We look guilty. We have to win. Emeka Okonkwo and Gozie Eze, now 25 and 23, couldn't wait any longer. They eloped to Lagos and married in secret, with only 2 friends as witnesses. When their families found out, the reaction was nuclear. "You married the enemy?" Okafor screamed at his nephew. "Have you no loyalty, no family pride?" "She's not the enemy," Emeka shouted back. "She's my wife, and she's your niece. Or have you forgotten that Ade is her aunt, that we are all supposed to be family? That covenant died when her father sued us. You've betrayed your blood." "No, uncle, you betrayed the covenant, all of you. My grandfather and Gozie's grandfather made a sacred oath, and you've all pissed on it for money." Emeka and Gozie fled to Lagos, cut off from both families. Neither family attended their traditional wedding, neither family met their first child, born in 1986. The children who had played together now lived as strangers, separated by a river that had once been their playground. After 10 years of legal battles, millions spent on lawyers, and 2 families torn apart, the Supreme Court finally issued its verdict. Both families gathered in the courtroom. Chukwuade and Ikenna, who hadn't spoken in a decade, sat on opposite sides. Neither looked at each other. The judge read the decision. After reviewing all evidence, testimony, and documentation, this court finds that the land deed is ambiguous regarding the exact percentage of contribution from each family. However, the original covenant between Chief Okonkwo and Chief Eze clearly stated equal partnership. Therefore, the court rules that the land shall be divided equally, 50% to the Okonkwo family, 50% to the Eze family, exactly as originally agreed. Furthermore, both families shall split equally the costs of this legal action. Total legal fees, 12 million naira, 6 million per family.
Silence in the courtroom. They'd spent 10 years and 12 million naira fighting over land they already owned equally. They destroyed their families, traumatized their children, and betrayed a sacred covenant for nothing. Okafor Okonkwo stood up and walked out without a word, his face grey. Ikenna Eze sat frozen, his wife Obiageli beside him in tears, not of sadness, but of rage at the unjust verdict. Outside the courthouse, Chukwudi finally approached his brother-in-law. Ikenna looked at him, and for a moment, something flickered in his eyes. Regret, shame, recognition of what they'd lost. But before either could speak, Obiageli pulled her husband away. "Don't talk to them, they are still the enemy." That night, Adaeze packed her bags and left. She moved to Lagos to live with her son Emeka and daughter-in-law Ngozi. She couldn't bear to live in the house of betrayal anymore. "I've lost my brother," she told Emeka through tears. "I've watched my children grow up without knowing their cousins. I've seen a sacred covenant destroyed. And for what? For 50% of land we already owned equally? For money that was spent on lawyers?" Old Mama Neoma, the oldest woman in both villages at 95 years old, called a meeting. She was one of the last people alive who remembered the original covenant ceremony in 1920. Both families came, not out of respect, but out of curiosity. Mama Neoma stood with her walking stick, her voice still strong despite her age. She said, "I was there. I was 15 years old when Chief Okonkwo and Chief Eze made the covenant. I saw them cut their palms. I saw them mix their blood. I heard the oath they swore." She looked at both families with eyes that had seen too much. They swore that their families would be one until the 7th generation. They swore that any family member who betrayed the covenant would curse their own bloodline.
that their children would suffer the consequences of broken oaths, that wealth gained through betrayal would turn to ashes in their mouths. That's just superstition, Obiageli began. Silence! Mama Neoma's voice cracked like thunder. You foolish woman! You think you are modern? You think old oaths don't matter? Look at your families. Look! She pointed her stick at them one by one. Ikenaeze, your daughter Ngozi has given you 3 grandchildren. Have you met them? No, because you chose greed over family. Chukwudi Okonkwo, your son Emeka sent you letters for 5 years. Did you read them? No, because you chose pride over love. She turned to the younger generation. Obiora Okonkwo and Chinedu Eze, you are brothers. You swam together, played together, dreamed together. Now you can't stand in the same room. Is this the inheritance your grandfathers meant to leave you? Hatred, bitterness, broken families? Mama Neoma drove her walking stick into the ground. The covenant is broken. The curse is active. Until this betrayal is healed, both families will know no peace. Your businesses will fail. Your marriages will crumble. Your children will inherit your hatred. And in the 7th generation, she paused, her eyes dark. In the 7th generation, one family will end completely, erased as if they never existed. She walked away, leaving both families in stunned silence. The curse had been spoken, and everyone felt its weight. Obiora Okonkwo, now 33, and Chinedu Eze, now 34, hadn't spoken in 18 years. But both had children now. Both were fathers watching their own kids grow up. And both remembered what it was like to have a best friend, a brother, before the adult destroyed everything. One night, Obiora sat with his 7-year-old son, who asked innocently, "Daddy, why don't I have cousins like other kids?" Obiora said quietly, "You do have cousins." "Where are they?" Obiora couldn't answer. How do you explain to a child that his cousins exist, but he can't meet them because of his stupid lawsuit 20 years ago over land that was already shared equally? That night, Obiora sent a letter to Chinedu. Just 3 words. "I'm sorry, brother." Chinedu stared at the letter for 3 days. His wife found him crying one night. "What's wrong?" He whispered. "I miss my brother. I miss Obiora. We let them do this to us. We let them turn us into enemies, and now our children don't even know they have cousins." He wrote back, "I'm sorry too. Let's meet, alone." They met at the river Omambala, the border that had divided their families for 20 years. They sat on opposite banks at first, unable to cross. Then Obiora stood up and waded into the river. Chinedu did the same. They met in the middle of the river where their great-grandfathers had made the original covenant. They embraced and wept. "We can't change what our fathers did," Obiora said, "but we can change what our children inherit." Agreed. No more hatred, no more betrayal. We end this now. The younger generation, Emeka, Chioma, Obiora, Ngozi, and Chinedu, organized a meeting of both families. The older generation came reluctantly. Chukwudi and Ikenna hadn't been in the same room in 20 years. "We called you here," Emeka announced, "because we are tired of inheriting your hatred. We are tired of explaining to our children why they can't meet their cousins. We are tired of this curse." "You can keep fighting if you want," Chioma added. "But we, the next generation, are choosing differently. We are choosing to honor the covenant our great-grandfathers made. We are choosing to be family again." Obiora stood. "The land that you fought over, it's worth 50 million naira now. We, the 5 of us, are proposing a solution. Sell it, split the money 50-50 as the court ruled. Use your portion to pay off the debt this feud created. And what's left? invest it in a new family business together. Okonkwo and Eze Trading Company, reborn. Silence. Then Chukwudi stood slowly. He looked at Ikenna across the room. "My daughter is right," he said quietly. "I've spent 20 years angry, 20 years bitter. I've missed watching my grandchildren grow up because of pride. I've lost my wife because of stubbornness. Brother Ikenna, I'm sorry. For my part in this, for the countersuit, for the accusations, for breaking our grandfather's covenant." Ikenna's lips trembled. His wife Obiageli hissed, "Don't you dare!" But he stood anyway. "Brother Chukwudi, I started this. I filed the first lawsuit. I listened to greed instead of remembering family. I'm sorry. I was wrong." The two men walked towards each other slowly. When they met in the middle of the room, they embraced and wept. And then, everyone was crying. Tears of 20 years of pain finally being released. Obiageli stormed out, refusing to participate, but no one followed her. The families had chosen healing over bitterness. The covenant was renewed at the river Omambala. This time, it wasn't the chiefs who caught their palms. It was Obiora Okonkwo and Chinedueze with their children present. "We swear," Obioro said, "that our families are one blood, one destiny." "One family," Chinedu agreed. "And we teach our children, no wealth is worth losing family, no land is worth betrayal, no court case is worth breaking sacred oaths." They mixed their blood on white cloth and buried it beside the spot where their great-grandfathers had buried theirs 85 years earlier. The Okonkwo and Eze Trading Company was relaunched. This time, with both families working together, it flourished beyond anything the previous generation had achieved. The land was sold, the money was split fairly, the debts were paid, and what remained was invested in businesses, education, and the future. For all the children, regardless of which bank of the river they were born on. Mama Anelma, now 105 years old and confined to a wheelchair, was brought to witness the renewal ceremony. Tears ran down her ancient face. "This is what your grandfathers wanted," she whispered. "This is what the covenant was meant to protect. Not land, not money, family, love, unity." She died peacefully 2 weeks later, satisfied that the curse had been lifted before the 7th generation was fully grown up. Today, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the Okonkwo and Eze families don't even think of themselves as separate families. They're just family. The story of the betrayal is still told, not to shame, but to warn. A cautionary tale told to each new generation. This is what happens when greed enters the heart, when wealth becomes more important than blood, when pride prevents apology.
But the story doesn't end with betrayal. It ends with redemption. Because the most important lesson isn't about the curse, it's about the healing. The elders tell the children, remember this story. Remember that betrayal is easy, but healing is hard. That destroying takes a moment, but rebuilding takes decades. That the sins of fathers can become curses for children unless someone is brave enough to say, no more. It ends with me. Thanks for watching. If you have thoughts, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more. Bye!